All right, what is going on, everyone? It is next week, new video. This video is going to be 5 reasons why starting calisthenics could save your life. So I want to start with just saying thank you for everyone that was watching, my last 4 videos. Starting more within my channel for YouTube and Instinct Calisthenics, just talking about, certain things. For those of you that watched all those videos, thank you very much. I really appreciate the support. But for today, I'm gonna go over the 5 reasons of why starting calisthenics could actually save your life. So the first one is addiction to healthy lifestyle. And so if you're somebody that struggles with addiction, or you have bad habits, or let's say it's alcohol, let's say it's smoking, let's say it's, anything crazier than that. I've traveled, met a lot of people that have struggled with addiction. For myself, if you watched the prior video, I struggled with drinking energy drinks like a fiend. Drinking energy drinks like a fiend. Like I'd have one right in the morning, pop it. And then I'd go to like my midday, at the time I did painting, so I was painting at the time. So I'm like, gotta have another energy drink while I'm painting, even though it's like not crazy labor at all, But then after that, I would go to the gym with my buddies, and then we would train, do freestyle, so I'd crack another one open. And then like, when you do that for like years on end, just drinking energy drinks they're not good for you guys. Like they're really not good for you. They have a ton of additives, and like mainly people drink them because they're like, oh, I got caffeine, I'm gonna get hyped. Yeah, no, it's not all about the caffeine. If you want caffeine, just go drink some espresso. A lot better for you, a lot less additives, and really you only gotta worry about the coffee beans that you're drinking it from. But at the end of the day, if you wanna get super technical with certain things, whatever. But the main point, what to do with this addictive personality is to almost switch it to where going to train, going to work out, going to, better yourself on, the more physical training side, because it also helps your mental side more than you realize without even thinking about it subconsciously. If you were to just go to the gym rather than, do that other thing, or whatever it may be for yourself, yourself the most, right? So whatever it may be, but if you choose to do, say, calisthenics or training or getting your life into a better result in that sense with like your physical and mental, it will change your life when it comes to addiction, because I've seen it myself. I know people that have done a lot of alcohol, done drugs, been to jail, the whole 9. And calisthenics changed their life. And it was simply because it challenged them. It put them around a community. It put them around people that also had better mindsets. Because that's the one thing, another thing about addiction is a lot of people go into addictions because of the people that are around them. And so if you can put yourself in a different environment, if you need that help, if you don't want to do it by yourself, then that's the other thing is people that live a healthy lifestyle within calisthenics only want to see more people thrive in calisthenics. People with addiction that have unhealthy addictions only want to see people like go to that addiction, and they don't want to see you actually grow. So if you really want, calisthenics or something else like that physically to be able to save your life, it's about making the decision, wanting to do it, and then translating it maybe into a different community, or just being on top of yourself and learning how to find that same dopamine from just bettering yourself after, you just did it a whole workout session or something like that, or you've stuck to training for a few months down the line, and then you're seeing progress, and then you're like, wow, this is my new addiction, being healthy and living a healthy lifestyle. Because what that does is not only is it good for you, It's good for everyone else around you because they see it, you know? And if you're doing really, 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 really well, more people are gonna wanna hop on that, you know? So that's the first thing, addiction to healthy lifestyle. It is a choice, but the faster you make that choice and you want a better life for yourself, calisthenics, training calisthenics, pushing yourself physically and mentally with your training only progresses your life like into like a better area, especially if you are someone that struggles with addiction. And for all of you guys that I was saying, like, I was addicted to energy drinks. I stopped because energy drinks, as much as I love them, like they're good, they're flavor. I don't drink soda, you know, it's fizzy. So it's like, I like that little like, first sip type, you know, but it's like at the same time, you know, you drink coffee, it's like, it's not the same taste as that, but you still have like, but it's better for you. So it's like, sometimes you do have to make like sacrifices for the things that are better for you to you know, reach a better area for yourself as well. But the second one, I kind of touched on this a little bit with the addiction. The second one is community. And so community is a really big thing when it comes to calisthenics and just putting yourself into an environment that people want to see you grow and want to see you succeed. I think that was one thing about the calisthenics and community that I really enjoyed outside of just the regular fitness community, because the regular fitness community is more like, we're gonna judge the shit out of you because a lot of people in the fitness community just have like enormous egos over like literally not even achieving anything. And so, and they just, because they're physically fit, they're like, I know everything. You know, it's like, that's not a bad thing. And I mean, by all means, like, do you, but like, at the same time, like, don't spread information. Like, don't be like informing people about the wrong shit just because, like, you know, you might think it's right, even though, like, the thing is with gyms, it's always like, I even touched on this in like the last video, like, it's always the bigger dude thinks he knows more than like the next person. But just because you have a lot of muscle mass doesn't even mean that you are better than the next guy, because quite frankly with you guys, it's very easy to grow muscle mass, especially if you're not natural. And unfortunately, a lot of people in the fitness community are turning to be not natural because they see other like influencers like just get a lot of muscle and like they're big and all this and that, and it's like no one has the patience anymore just to, you know, do it naturally. And like when I come back to addiction, and I was saying addiction is a struggle for people, like, yet an addiction could be literally just using enhancements because you don't have the mental capacity to be patient with yourself to actually achieve these things naturally. And so the thing, and that's something that I really push, you know, being the founder of Instinct Calisthenics and pushing calisthenics is, and the sport is, I want to see more people natural, because there's nothing wrong with it being natural. You shouldn't even want to rush the process. You know, it's like you should enjoy the process, but, you know, and the community can help you do that. You know, it can help you do that. The right community that lifts you up, empowers you, motivates you, and inspires you with each, you know, attempt that you do, it can really help. But nowadays, when it comes to fitness and all this and that, everyone wants it like just by the snap of their fingers. And it's like, it's kind of disappointing because it puts more of like a bad rep on the like on the fitness community in general. but I mean, everyone, you know, each to their own by all means. Like, I'm not going to tell you like, oh, you're a bad person for doing X, Y, and Z. But there are consequences with doing some of those things. You know, it's like, you know, just be smart. Don't be stupid. And you're looking at someone right now that has been natural for like 9 years of my life. Well, I've been natural all my life, you know, but ever since I started training, it's like things that can enhance your progress, you know, might look good at the start, but it's never good at the end. We'll just say it like that. And for most people, it never results in like a healthy result. We'll put it that way. And so, yeah, community, finding yourself with the right people, getting yourself out of an addictive mindset with bad habits and turning your addictions into good habits is very key and definitely can help save your life. The third one is with calisthenics, you know, for doing it for a little while, the third one is move, look, and feel good. So after you do it for a little while and you start achieving things and you start, you know, getting that next skill or getting the physique that you want or getting in that mentality that you want and, you know, really just kind of looking in the mirror and being like, after like a few months and being like, dang, like I'm transforming myself, you know, like I'm doing this. Like, you start to move good. You start to, like, when moving with calisthenics, you're mastering your body weight. So your mobility, your flexibility, your strength overall, just to like, if you needed to do anything when it comes to your body, like if you are doing calisthenics, you are more prepared than the next guy that is doing calisthenics. Because it's like, you're in tune with your body, with almost every part of it. And so that's another really cool thing about calisthenics is over time, unlike just weightlifting, you keep your functionality, you keep your mobility, you still look like a freaking Dorito bod, and you can go anywhere and do it anywhere, and you just look good, feel good, and move good for a longer period of time in your life, unless you're like competing at an insanely high level in the sport where it is insanely physically demanding. Unless you're doing something that's crazy physically demanding, it can be, you know, shorter. But like if you're doing this for longevity, if you're doing this just to be healthy, if you're doing this just to have a healthier mindset, longevity, it's calisthenics is your best friend for that. And so that's 3. Move, look, and feel good when you do, you know, freestyle calisthenics or just, you know, basic general calisthenics. 4 is achievement. So kind of bringing it back to addiction, right? When people have an addiction, most likely it's because that addiction gives them dopamine. So the really awesome thing about freestyle calisthenics is there's skills, there's dynamics. And so unlike just doing strength, like there are skills in strength, and you know, it takes a long time to, you know, sometimes achieve those things. So you got to build the strength to do those things. So at the end of the day, they're very rewarding. With freestyle, it's like balls. Like, do you have the balls and coordination and mentality to do this? Like to like full send a skill or full send a combo. Like there's a lot higher risk when it comes into injury. I would say with, you know, dynamics, I think if you are spamming, you know, static skills or like physically high pressure skills all the time on your joints, that can lead to injury as well, but with like strength skills. But I've seen a lot of dynamic people injure themselves. That's actually how I injured myself with a front flip regrab. I hit my heel on the bar, grabbed with my left hand, missed with my right. Was competing in the main event in Brooklyn, and then I just like was hanging and it just ripped, you know. So it happens, but you get back up, you do your thing. And so, but achievement, I see it so much where, you know, especially the younger generation, they'll start training calisthenics, but then they'll find freestyle and they'll just fall in love with it. And that's like almost everybody, not even just the younger generation. They'll find freestyle and they'll be like, this is awesome. Why? Because it allows them, one, to move free. It allows them to push themselves. It allows them to pretty much, with anything in life, when you first try something and you fail, but then you keep trying something and you get it, you get dopamine. Like that is literally what happens. Is like you get that rush of dopamine. You're like, oh, I just caught this skill. Like this is so lit. Like I want to do it again. Like I want to do this one. I want to do that one. I want to put this together. Like I want to, all these things. And a lot of, people that train freestyle, they actually just get absorbed into the freestyle because how much dopamine rush it gives them when they, do a combo or do a skill for the first time or something like that. And then they're able to take that then to the competition, and compete it. Like that makes people have a fat dopamine rush. And when you take your, say, bad addictions that used to give you a dopamine rush and you replace it with that, that's what makes you transform your perspective on life, and why calisthenics can really save your life when it comes to putting you in a better physical but also mental state of mind when you're achieving these things, because you're seeing it, because you're the one doing it. And so that's like a really awesome thing about calisthenics and freestyle calisthenics as well. And actually, when I was younger, it's what pushed me to want to do this sport, because I did basketball when I was a kid for a long time. I did travel ball and high school ball, and with basketball you have a team. So it's like what they always say is you're only as good as the worst player on your team, because with a team you have to work together. So if you have that one guy that's just not pulling his weight, you're most likely going to be anchored by that guy not pulling their weight. And so with freestyle calisthenics, when I first got introduced to it myself, I was like, this is awesome, because I can do this. I can train insanely hard. And if I go and compete and if I win, it's on me. If I lose, it's on me. And I love that. Like, as a guy, I think that's a guy thing, but like, it could be a girl thing too, I don't know. But like, when it comes to competing, it's like, when it's all on you, I mean, not everyone's like this, but it's like, you want it more. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of interesting how that all works. But when I found that, I'm like, well, I can train really hard, I can compete, and if I win, it's because I did the work, not a teammate. It's like, that is pretty rewarding. And I think that's another reason why calisthenics and people in calisthenics are in love with calisthenics once they start doing it and achieving the skills that they want to achieve. And the last one is trust. So trust is an insanely important thing. And I keep trust for last, because even though I'm talking about, the freestyle side of the sport, the addictions, changing your life to be, healthier and not harmful, you have to be able to, especially with freestyle, especially, just with day-to-day, training and pushing yourself, with being honest with your diet and honest with, everything that you're trying to do to push yourself in a healthier lifestyle with calisthenics. You have to be able to learn how to trust yourself, be able to commit to things, be able to know that you have your back. And it's an interesting way to, kind of think about it in that sense. But I say this because, for instance, we'll take it to freestyle. Say it was your first time, you're learning a skill for the first time. You have to, you're throwing we'll say the skill that injured me, a front flip regrab, right? It's a more advanced skill. It's a blind catch, right? It's all these things. And so you see it, and you have to, before you even do it, have to trust yourself into fully committing into the skill to do everything right. Because if you have any sort of hesitation, any sort of second guessing, any sort of like, I don't know, even midair, when you're like midair in a skill, if you get any of that, you're actually at more harm. You're putting yourself in more risk than if you were just to fully commit. Because when you fully commit, think about it this way, when you fully commit, you follow through. You follow through. Even if you fall, you follow through. When you hesitate, you can be midair upside down, and say you just, what does that do? Just stops everything. And that's when people hit the ground hard. That's when people injure themselves. That's when people, make a judgment call that's not pretty much what they needed to do in that specific moment. So trust is a very key thing when it comes to progressing in the sport of calisthenics, because you have to teach yourself how to trust yourself. And you're like, you're probably like, Alex, but how can I not trust myself? Well, I'll tell you that if you are not able to, simple. I don't know if everyone will know what this is, like on the video, but it's a dismount. It's a flyaway. So a flyaway is when you're on the bar, you swing, and then on that front swing, you let go, you do a backflip, and then you land on the ground. So that's actually like, it's a starting dismount, right? A flyaway, and it takes trust to do that. And some people out here on like a little bit more advanced level would be like, flyaway is super fucking easy. Sorry for my language, but like, it's true. Like a lot of people would see that and be like, that's a really easy thing. And then there's other people that would be like, that skill terrifies me. Just mental blocks to the max. And so trust is what allows you, and self-confidence in your ability is what starts to take those mental blocks down. And then you can then transfer yourself over to where those other people are saying that a flyaway is easy. And so the more and faster you can teach yourself how to trust yourself with your own abilities and be honest with yourself with your own abilities. Don't lie to yourself, because there's a lot of people out there that say, oh, I could do that, and then they go and do it, and they don't do it because they were lying to themselves from the beginning about being able to do it. And that's not how you get anything in life. But so when you want something, and if it freaks you out, you have to be honest with where your capability levels are at the very moment, where you want to achieve it, where you have to get your trust level with yourself to be able to achieve it, and then you have to commit to it and do it. You might not do it on your first try. Trust me, I have eaten shit so many times trying to learn how to freestyle, hitting my face, smacking. I have bone indentions, like from the bar on my left arm, because I spin to my left whenever I do like, spinning skills. And so when I come in on the bar, my left arm's hitting the bar first. And so sometimes, when you throw a skill, sometimes you hit your forearm, and it happens. And sometimes it hurts a little bit, but you have to be able to be like, how bad do you actually want to achieve some of these things? And at the end of the day, obviously the more you want something, the farther you'll go with it. But trust is a really key thing with progressing in anything, especially a sport that is not only physically demanding, but mentally demanding. Because you have to be able just to look at it and be like, I can do that. I can do it, and then actually do it. So yeah, those are the 5 reasons why calisthenics can save your life. Because if you switch your addictions to healthy lifestyle, bam, you're already doing better. If you put yourself in a better community than maybe people that were having those same bad addictions as you, and you put yourself in a new community, then bam, that's a better thing that could help save your life. When you're training calisthenics, it was the move, look, and feel good. When you move, look, and feel good, you're not thinking about, bad habits, because you've already switched your brain to be like, I want to do healthy habits and not harmful habits. Because you start to become addicted to progress. For the achievement, when you start achieving the goals from like the very beginning, from when you were a beginner up to, getting to that intermediate level, to that advanced, to maybe even that pro level, you get addicted to the progress. And then trust, once you really learn how to trust yourself and move forward through not only calisthenics and freestyle and learning new skills, but you learn how to trust yourself, you can translate that into, real life situations. And when you have that capability of really trusting yourself after progressing with all these achievements, you can put yourself even back in to those bad environments with those bad habits that you used to do. And because now you have changed your perspective with progress as your dopamine and progress as your addiction, and trusting yourself within that progress or process, you've now just removed yourself from all the bad habits and putting yourself into a healthy track of on life. And calisthenics is one of those things that I've seen it multiple times, in a lot of different ways versus a lot of different sports. Calisthenics really changes people's lives for the better. And so if you haven't started, I would like to say, you better start with Instinct Calisthenics. I do have, the first outfit on here. There's still 15 available. It is high ticket price, so I do value, everyone that honestly has been on the website and just seen it, check it out, things like that. I really appreciate that. All the support really, helps me out. I really appreciate it. Helps the sport out. Like I said in my previous video, all the outfits that are purchased will be, helping the sport of freestyle grow. One biggest thing that I really want to do for this sport is, when I started, there wasn't like all these, it wasn't seen as like a professional sport. Like there's not a lot of that. And so my goal with everything is to make this sport into something that, I could have had as a kid, but now do that for the younger generation coming into the sport, and just people that, they can look at it and be like, wow, I really want to do this because I can make something of this, in that sense. And so, yeah, everything that's purchased off my website with the outfits is only 15 available. They're all cut and sew, custom made, every detail made from scratch. Really paid attention to, the quality of everything. I know it's, online, you guys can't feel the clothing, which is a very, crucial thing when it comes to a lot of things. So if you are interested in purchasing, you can send me a message or a direct message to my page on Instinct Calisthenics on Instagram, or even my AlexWilliams_SW, my main page on my, on my Instagram or TikTok or anything like that. Send me a DM. If you are, local to Arizona, and you wanna feel it, and you wanna see what it is, if you're interested in purchasing, I will do the courtesy of coming and meeting you and, showing you the product if you are serious about making that purchase. So there are more things coming out with Instinct Calisthenics this month. I've been working very hard with a lot of things, and I want to see you guys grow and push yourself to the next level. So thank you guys all for watching. I hope all of you guys have a blessed day and a good day, and will challenge yourself with making those healthy habits, a permanent thing within your life. And go do something nice for someone today. All right, guys. Well, like I said, I hope you enjoy the video. Start calisthenics. Go check out Instinct Calisthenics, and catch you in the next one. Peace.